This is a Star Wars story because I'm flying Han Solo today on League Unlocked. My name's Eric. Thanks for joining us as playoffs finally got started in the LPL. And now all the major regions have finally moved in to the postseason. Things kicked off with World Elite taking on JD Gaming in the 5 versus 8 seed matchup. And these guys played in week 10 with World Elite completely thwomping them 2-0. And they have been on a tear to close out the regular season. And people were finally talking about them returning to their 2017 form where they made a run to semis at Worlds and made it to the mid-season invitational. And it was through the play of GA and Mystic, the same guys who were on that squad a couple of years ago. Game 1, and of course, the LPL is different than the LCK because they go right into best of 5s. And in that first game, you had Mystic on the Vayne, who was a huge pick in this series. But level 1, she's not that strong, believe it or not. Mystic oversteps against a Rakan and Kai'Sa, which are probably going to beat you level 1. That's exactly what they do. First blood goes the way of JDG, and they were not done. Heading into the bottom lane with that Nocturne Galio combo. That's a dive. 2 more kills. 4-0 now for JD Gaming, and that is a heck of a start. And then more action in the bottom lane, why not? It's fun to shut down a Vayne and make her completely irrelevant. The turret's already down. 2 kills, a couple of more come the way. Flawless, they're chasing down on to, that's GA who TP'd into. All the kills go to JD. This game was over almost before it started. That first blood and more action in the bottom lane. This snowballed very quickly. 0 kills for World Elite. This is exactly what they did to JD in week 10, but they get the last laugh in game 1. So we go into game 2, and it's another Vayne pick for Mystic in this one. And this side, we get some action in the mid lane. It's a pose on that Yorick roaming down, and Beijing gets some action as well. GA gets rolling early on, and then this time World Elite says, all right, we're gonna go to the bottom lane with the Jarvan, and the TPs are all gonna come in. Mystic picks one up, the Cataclysm locks in the Skarner, or the Rise, excuse me. He goes down. They chase down the Skarner for another kill. 5-0 for World Elite, and it's more action in the bottom lane. This is the exact same thing that we just saw in game 1, but this time it's World Elite coming out on top for most of them on the blue side. And this is a 2v3, by the way, that Mystic and Missing turn around, and they get 3 kills. 2 of them go the way of Vayne. That is solo queue nightmares right there. And when the Vayne is turning around 2v3s, you know this game is just about done. Double-digit kills for Mystic in the total opposite performance from what we saw in game 1. This one gets all tied up at 1-0s. We're going into game 3, and it's still side selection for World Elite because they finished as that higher seed. Morgana mid lane for GA to go with the Kai'Sa, and this time the Vayne goes on JDG for Imp. By the way, in case you forgot who the AD carry is in 2019, it's Imp. That's right, Samsung White World Champion in 2014, Imp, who has been probably irrelevant in the scene on LGD the last few years because LDG have been irrelevant, but JD back in the playoffs, and Imp on a champion. He got a pentakill at Worlds 2014 on the Vayne, getting rolling early on. And this one had some back and forth team fights, but JD was ahead in gold for most of the early game, and then around the Baron pit trying to contest a 5v4, and that is just World Elite running away. Couple of kills going their way. Mystic grabs one on GA on the way out, and that is 5 members still alive. So the Baron gets picked up for JD Gaming, and then they go bottom lane. And watch this dive on to Zoom. He goes down. He 2-shots Mystic. Literally 2 shots him with an auto and a barrel, and he is dead. 1-for-1 trade with 4 going there. That's just how this game was playing out. Imp is very fed and crushing down some turrets. One last desperation stand for World Elite, and it's close. They do manage to get some kills, but Mystic is not there to be outputting a lot of damage. And when you have Morgana mid, your main damage source is going to be in that bottom lane. Beijing doing his best to try and save the game. And actually, World Elite, they barely do it. The Olaf stays alive, And Yagao does go down, but that was just an idea. Delaying the inevitable. JD would come back eventually into that base with the exposed Nexus, and they're pushing onto the Nexus Fountain. Laser beams, they do get it. 2-1 JD. Did not expect them to perform this well after World Elite completely destroyed them in that Week 10 matchup, but the Vayne picked 4 games in a row. This time it goes back to Mystic, and Kaisa goes the other way for Imp. And you grab a Dragon for World Elite there, but the fight is not how you would want to see things playing out. Lots of kills going the way of JD. Some nice engages there, and not really worth it. Yes, it was a Mountain Drake, but definitely not worth it in that trade there. Now 7 kills to 3. Just the tip of that Braum ulti does knock up Imp, but he is still safe on the outside of the Cataclysm, and a Flawless will go down. By the way, support Fiddlesticks for Liv Mao in this one, and he was putting in some work early on, but it was the GA show early on this LeBlanc. Happy to see him on more of a carry champion. He turns that fight around for WE to get them back in this game, and then he pops in with a double distortion, completely blows up the backline there of JD, but this fight is just getting started. Mystic on the outside putting out some damage. He flashes over, but then he wants to come back in. He gets the trade onto Imp, but Zoom trades it back. That's 8 kills in that team fight. Only the top laner and mid laners respectively surviving, and Liv Mao catches out Mystic there. He had, look at these engages on the support Fiddlesticks. I don't know how he danced around some of this vision from World Elite, but he had some incredible engages. Key picks on Mystic, and then GA in back-to-back fights. Jaedong cleans up Missing as well, and they are just zoning Beijing. He has no chance to try and steal this Baron, but Flawless does go down. He flashes in, but he's in too early. Great job by JD saving the DPS, not panicking. It flashes over. It looks like Mystic should have won that 1v1, but the toss of the boulder in from Zoom. Baron goes the way of JD. A whole bunch of kills, and they do what basically nobody expected coming into this series. 3-1. They don't even need a 5th game to do it. JD Gaming take down World Elite, and the hype train is derailed before it even left the station for WE. And you gotta think, maybe JD actually were just playing 200 IQ by getting 2-0'd in that Week 10 matchup. You know that Levi was playing, they were playing some of their subs, not playing any of maybe the picks they had up their sleeves, like the support Fiddle. They, ease World Elite into that false sense of security because they knew either way they were going to be playing World Elite in that Week 10 matchup. All that mattered was who was getting side selection in that 5-8 matchup. And obviously, side selection didn't mean a whole lot because World Elite goes down 3-1. I know last episode, Mark was hyping up Mystic because he had a great run and was one of the main reasons why World Elite looked so great. He had a rough series. He was getting First Blooded level 1 on the Vayne. Aside from Game 2, he had 3 pretty dreadful performances. So definitely not what we were expecting coming into this. And Imp, he looked great in most of these matches. Again, save for that Game 2. The other 3, Imp looked great. I'm just excited to see him back on a meaningful stage in the LPL because not many people from that Samsung White roster are still actually playing at a high level. So seeing Imp play well in the LPL playoffs, very happy for him, excited to see him back. And now JD are treated to a matchup against RNG in the quarterfinals, which means Imp versus Uzi again, a rematch of the World Finals in 2014. We'll be taking a look at that series when it actually goes down because RNG haven't actually looked that strong as of late.